Yes, greetings and the best of salutations. Just thinking in this wise. Where I am at this moment in my state of mind. I was interacting with one another, good brother, dealing with this wealth gap, economic disparity. I text the brother about the math, about 3 to 5% households in America. I may be wrong, but are millionaires, comparison to the total population, Text me back about as of 2019, 15 billionaires of full or mixed black ancestry in the world out of the total 200 and I stop right there. There's a large disparity, large gap. 5 of 607 billionaires in America are black. The disparity worldwide. First, a country with all the mineral resources. People may be riding around, leaders may be riding around in nice vehicles, while the masses are living in poverty. And you deal with leadership around the world as well. I mean, there's always a picture that's not being projected, This economic gap, economic disparity breeds not only hostility but instability, A sense of restlessness amongst the people, I think Dr. King says we're smothered in the airtight cage of poverty amongst an affluent society. Imam Muhammad says that the blacks are affluently poor here in America. Who do the wealthy, those who do they represent, It is said that keep good companionship, The company you keep strongly influences one's decisions. Good companions. Good companionship. It says that help mate, to work together as one, companionship, and that should be spread abroad. Encourage one another to do good, whereas bad company will lead you into the arms of Satan. Yes. It's like for the most part, many have become mentally incapacitated, deranged, unable to reason, you know. May we learn to reason one with another, learn to reason from the premise of conversation, reason with progression. It's kind of challenging when one society is under reconstruction, whereas people's feelings are becoming desensitized and thoughts demoralized, attitude dehumanized, and communication devitalized, and activity destabilized. It is said that in the Bible about giants, men of renown. That's what that means. Larger than life, as we call it in this society. Everybody wants to be larger than life, wants to be celebrated, sows a seed of dissension. Men of renown, women of renown, flamboyantly living their lives of luxury, wealth, privilege, power, prestige. Some strange way they themselves may be suffering from the illusions of grandeur themselves, and somehow or another that type of attitude or mentality or the psychology of their mentality falls down on the masses of the people. They themselves go through life aimlessly, suffering from illusions of grandeur as well as cognitive dissonance. They go through life, with living off their pennies that they are making, and that the dollars that they have saved, that they spend them frivolous. They spend them, without care, trying to find meaning, trying to be valued, and quest for this feeling of importance, becomes very disturbing, mentally debilitating, as well as mentally incapacitated, while their mobility becomes regulated. I was checking out something on this channel they call YouTube. A made mention to the listening audience to what I be expressing. Said that 91% that listens are international, and 9% is, domestic or local, or, national. Here in the United States, they call it. That tells me a lot to some degrees that for the most part, we've been trained and taught through this social reconstructions where our feelings are becoming desensitized, our thoughts demoralized, our attitude dehumanized, and our communication devitalized, which means we're really not listening to one another. Someone is controlling the narrative. Someone is determining who and what you should listen to. Even though we have these freedoms here, but it seems as though that these freedoms are being misused and displaced. Almost like they seeking some form of refuge, But the refuge is not in themselves. The refuge is that they have surrendered their will and their behavior voluntarily to the power and the privilege and the prestige and the prominence of the larger society, the dominant society, the dominant culture. So I applaud the international community for all it's worth, at least statistically. I know statistics benefit statisticians, that they would take the time to listen, because of what I had to share and what I have to say. I realize that I come in a spirit of cooperation, because adequate cooperation leads to proper communication. That's how you effectively coordinate your power. I try to put things in a historical perspective and make it relevant until this day and time. I come in the leadership for me is coordination, A reason why I say coordination because due to the fact that a lot of our leaders, so-called leader or leadership, I should say, have been misleading the people, because they themselves want to be men or people of renown. They want to be celebrated. They want people to be attracted to their flamboyantness. So I say, and I must say, that I speak from the authority of resiliency, because I realize that resiliency is the author of success. So I say this to say is that people misuse and play with people's minds when they talk about authority from God and so forth and so on. Somehow a power they themselves are playing on the minds of the people. And I say this to say it is a dangerous thing. How could someone learn something from you, and that which they learn from you, they trick you from which they have learned from you? A confidence trickster who gain your trust and use that, what they have learned from you, against you. Yes, we are becoming desensitized under this social reconstruction, and our feelings. Yes, our thoughts are becoming demoralized, attitude dehumanized, and communication devitalized, and activity destabilized. So we're dealing with a spirit of apathy. Yes. I say this in this short discussion of expression, that be careful of those men who seek to be men of renown or women of renown, and their flamboyantness and their form of celebrityhood, and people are attracted to it. And people you must be focused on the character and the virtue of individuals, not on their material success or their celebrity or their status. Remember, anyone who's enslaved as a thing of status control, he or she who controls the economicness, the relationships, or the necessity of the relationships, determines the status of that relationship. Yes. We need to move beyond the symbolisms of power. We need to be about more representation in the substantive way by demonstrating, not in a sense of totalitarianism, but a sense of egalitarianism. And we must be about radicalism in our ideas, in our feelings, in our thoughts, in our attitude, in our language, and in our actions, so that we develop a distribution network. And in that distribution network, it will rise to a higher level of putting the demands on the distribution, the redistribution of wealth. There won't be so that certain people, men, wealth, women of power, that they won't be celebrated as individuals, but that which be celebrated, that will become one, united for the common good and bringing out the best of our common humanity, and realizing that oneness is stronger than the conflict and unity is stronger than diversity. They move from a persecuted minority to a privileged majority, and dealing with the tangling discourse of our nation, of our attitude, of our thinking. As King was saying, to a beautiful sympathy of brotherhood and sisterhood and familyhood and nationhood. That we will be renowned, that we will be known, not only as an individual, not only as a family, not only as a community, and not only as a nation, but be known with international cooperation and global solidarity. As global citizens for the greater good and the best of our humanity. Until next time, solid on that. Talk to you.